Imagine being in a boat. The waves are high, the wind is howling. The sea is a dark, churning mass of water, and the sky is an ominous shade of grey. The boat is being tossed around like a toy, and you can feel the sheer power of the storm all around you. Rain is pelting you in the face. You are terrified. The cold, stinging drops make it hard to see, and every gust of wind feels like it could knock you overboard. The relentless rain soaks you to the bone, and you can barely hear anything over the roar of the storm. You might even be a little scared. Your heart is pounding, and your hands are gripping the sides of the boat so tightly that your knuckles are white. Every muscle in your body is tense, and you can't shake the feeling that something terrible is about to happen. You are sure this is the end. The faces of those around you reflect your own fear and desperation. Everyone is shouting, but their voices are lost in the chaos. You can't help but think that this might be your last night alive. This is what it was like for the disciples that night on the Sea of Galilee. They were experienced fishermen, but nothing could have prepared them for a storm like this. The sea was their home, but now it felt like a grave. They were caught in a terrible storm. The wind and waves were relentless, and their small boat seemed insignificant against the fury of nature. They were doing everything they could to stay afloat, but it felt like a losing battle. They were alone and afraid. Then they saw something impossible. In the midst of the storm, when all hope seemed lost, they spotted a figure in the distance. At first they thought it was a ghost, but as it came closer, they realized it was something far more extraordinary. A figure was walking towards them. On the water, it was a sight that defied all logic and reason. The figure moved with a calmness that contrasted sharply with the chaos around them. It was a moment that would change their lives forever. Who could it be? It was the middle of the night. The waves towered over their little boat. No one could survive out there. The figure came closer. The disciples were terrified. They thought it was a ghost.
They had heard stories about ghosts on the water.
But this was no story. This was real. And it was coming right for them.
The figure called out to them,
"Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid."
It was Jesus. He had come to them, walking on the stormy water. The disciples were amazed. They couldn't believe their eyes. Their fear began to subside. If Jesus was with them, they knew they would be safe. Even in the middle of the storm, Jesus brought peace. He was in control. He always had been. Always had.
"Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water." Peter's voice trembled as he called out, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and hope. The waves were high and the wind was fierce, but his eyes were fixed on the figure standing calmly on the water.
Jesus simply said, "Come." His voice was steady and reassuring, cutting through the noise of the storm. It was a call to trust, a call to step out in faith despite the raging elements. And Peter, filled with faith, stepped out of the boat. His heart raced as his feet touched the water, but he kept his eyes on Jesus. Each step was a testament to his belief, a defiance of the natural order. He walked on the water towards Jesus. The impossible was happening, and for a moment doubt was nowhere to be found. The water held him up, and he moved forward, step by miraculous step. But then Peter took his eyes off Jesus. His gaze shifted to the chaos around him, the wind howling and the waves crashing. Doubt began to creep back into his heart. He looked at the wind. The fear that he had momentarily conquered started to resurface. The reality of the storm hit him hard. He felt the waves crashing around him. And he was afraid. The water that had once held him now seemed to pull him down. He began to sink. Panic set in as he realized his predicament. The solid ground of faith was slipping away, replaced by the cold, unforgiving water. "Come!" Jesus' call was still there, a beacon of hope amidst the storm. It was a reminder that trust and faith could still save him.
"Lord, save me," Peter cried out in desperation as the waves threatened to engulf him. His voice was filled with fear and uncertainty, echoing across the stormy sea.
Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. With a firm grip, he pulled Peter up from the churning waters. The touch of Jesus' hand brought an instant sense of calm and reassurance to Peter's heart.
"You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Jesus asked, his voice gentle yet firm. His eyes bore into Peter's, filled with both compassion and a hint of disappointment. Peter felt a mix of shame and gratitude, realizing the depth of his own wavering faith.
They climbed into the boat. The disciples, who had been watching in awe, quickly helped them aboard. The moment Jesus' feet touched the boat, something miraculous happened, and as soon as they did, the storm stopped. The wind died down. The waves calmed. The disciples were awestruck. The transformation was immediate and complete, leaving the sea as still as glass. They had seen Jesus do many miracles, but this was something else. This was a display of power and authority over nature itself, something they had never witnessed before. They dropped to their knees and worshipped him. Their hearts were filled with reverence and awe. They could not deny what they had just seen.
Truly, you are the Son of God, one disciple exclaimed, his voice trembling with emotion. The realization of Jesus' divine nature dawned on them more clearly than ever before.
Truly, you are the Son of God. Another disciple echoed, his eyes wide with wonder. The words felt both profound and undeniable.
Truly you are the Son of God. The declaration spread among them, each voice adding to the chorus of belief. They had witnessed a miracle that would forever change their understanding of who Jesus was.